Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray is part of Court and Parts,
podcast network featuring pop culture, TV, movie, and geek podcasts. Check out some of our other shows: Geek Gravy, We Got 5, TV Ate My Brain, and Get Real Movies at courtandarts.com.
10, 9, 8, 7,
don't pose. It's
6,
a video.
Oh my God.
5, 4,
New year, new house, new us.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Wanna know who died today?
So how's the new place?
It's good. It's things have been kind of weird around here lately.
Weird how?
Things just don't feel normal.
You're probably just imagining things. I'm noticing it here too. It's like things you'd never expect are happening everywhere.
Terrible things.
Guys, they shot a gorilla.
I don't understand. What is this thing?
It's not a what. It's a win.
There has to be a pattern.
There isn't.
George Michael, Rickman, Wilder, Prince, Bowie, Ali.
There's no pattern.
What happened?
I tried to call for help and my phone exploded.
What?
My phone literally exploded in my hand.
England just left Europe.
Why?
Nobody knows. They just left.
I feel like I'm going crazy.
It's gonna be okay. It's not like it can get any worse.
It's only locker room time! Did you remember to vote?
I have the best months. Everyone says I'm a great year. We lost Leia. This ends now.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought?
Do you think this is over? We're just getting started.
Coming to you undead from Elm Street in fictional Haddonfield with a beautiful view of Crystal Lake, the podcast where every day is Friday the 13th and every night is Halloween. You are listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray, part of the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network. Here are your hosts, Bloodbath, Bub, and Brett667, the neighbor of the beast.
Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray is the official horror movie podcast of the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network, the home of Let's Chat That Pop This Life. We Got 5, Failure to Launch, and TV Ate My Brain. Go to coretemparts.com for more information. Rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes or listen on Stitcher, YouTube, TuneIn, and Google Play. And please hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr. Music for this episode and all episodes is provided by the Slasher Film Festival Strategy and Nightbirds. This is number 28. It is the final episode of one of the worst fucking years ever, 2016. Everyone had a shitty holiday. I'm Bloodbath.
I'm Brett667, the neighbor of the beast.
I'm Bub.
So before we dive into Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray, last week I recorded the final episode of my long-running punk hardcore podcast, Epic Dudes. I just want to give a shout-out to those guys. Maddie and Ronnie, they're two great friends of mine. When I told them a few months ago that I wanted this show to be my primary focus, they were supportive. When I told them I wanted to end Epic Dudes, they were supportive. And now that it's over, they still remain extremely supportive. We were together for 2 years. We interviewed tons of bands and writers and photographers and people that were in the scene. And it went above and beyond my wildest dreams for all the episodes that we did. I'm just thankful to them. And whatever they cook up going forward, I wish them the best. Last week, we lost Carrie Fisher and her mother, Debbie Reynolds, within a day of each other. We don't want to add to the outpouring of fans across the globe, but Carrie Fisher was loved by a lot of people And I don't think any of us are over-the-top Star Wars fans. But I think we all like them. Are we on the same page here?
Yeah, I've always loved the original Star Wars as a kid, but I don't think I was a fanatic per se.
But I appreciate the fanaticism.
Oh, me
I'm just
too.
not
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
I don't, you know, I don't bag on anybody that does that.
I have a Stormtrooper's costume in my closet.
I bet you do. I bet that's not even a joke.
It's not even a joke. I totally have one in my closet.
Oh my God, that's
the gun
awesome.
and everything.
No, they're good films. They stimulate the imagination. They do what movies are supposed to do. And Carrie Fisher was iconic in that regard. So rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. 60 years young, way too soon. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I just want to say something because I'm getting more and more infuriated every time I read entertainment news. So I just feel like I need to bring this up, and I apologize. But so 71-year-old Steve Martin took to Twitter, so you already know, just in case anybody's been living under a rock, Steve Martin takes to Twitter after Carrie Fisher passes. And in a tweet, he says, "When I was young, Carrie Fisher was the most beautiful creature I had ever seen. And she turned out to be smart and bright as well." Now let's dissect that for a moment as a group, shall we?
Sure.
Steve Martin's first encounter with Carrie Fisher, from what he implies, may have been seeing her on the big screen as Princess Leia in the Star Wars films. You know, the space movie where she's wearing a golden bikini at one point?
Sitting on a giant worm.
Right. And then after that encounter, he met her in person. A close encounter, if you will. Get it? Leia is from another planet, therefore an alien, therefore it's a close encounter. And upon getting over how beautiful she was, he got to know her and found her to be smart and charming and fun, and they became friends. Appropriately, 71-year-old Steve Martin did what all kids are doing and paid tribute to his recently passed friend with what I honestly thought was a really nice and sweet, but maybe a bit dated tweet. Just felt dated, you know, you calling women beautiful creatures. It seems very Lord Byron, but nonetheless, he's 71 years old, right? So, and instead of perfect strangers wishing him condolences for the loss of his friend, they bullied the most uncontroversial, non-combative, easygoing celebrity in the history of fucking anything into taking his sentiments down off the internet because they couldn't handle it. And not only did they berate him, take him down, tar and fucking feather him, they claimed that they knew what Carrie Fisher would have wanted to be said about her. Now, I'm no medium, I can't talk to the dead, but I know a few things about Carrie Fisher. She was a very strong woman, and she definitely wouldn't want people speaking for her. She also would probably have greeted the compliments of her friend warmly and graciously because she was a smart woman and knew that even if he did say something out of left field that might have been maybe a little taboo or inappropriate, which he fucking didn't, then his best intentions would have been there and it would have been no harm, no foul. I don't mean to go on a political tirade here, but this is the shit that's gonna get that fucking idiot a second term. This super sensitive PC language fascism. And them taking their high horses, and every time someone says something they don't like, it gets just blown out of control. And I wish it were only that bad. I wish it was just tweets, but it's not. It's television, it's music, it's film, it's every phase and facet of American culture. A culture that consists of everybody. Black, white, Asian, Latino, gay, straight, curious, male, female, trans, and a bunch of other identities that I don't know or understand fully yet. People hammer away at celebrities no matter what the context of the situation, and they don't have altruistic intentions when they do it. They aren't taking down Steve Martin because they were really sour over what he said. That's a cloak covering on what's really going on here. These people are leeches. They're fucking parasites, and they're trying to rub off that celebrity and make themselves internet famous. And if that's what it costs, then I don't want to be there. I'm totally happy with my boutique show, my boutique co-host, and my boutique network. I'm totally fine with it. I'm not harming anyone at all. I'm not harming anyone putting out this show. I'm not Perez Hilton or some 21-year-old hipster dipshit trying to get backstage at a Mumford & Sons concert. I'm a pretty liberal guy, but I'm not PC liberal, okay? You don't have to take up every cause just because you aren't 100% sold on laissez-faire capitalism. It's okay. If you are liberal, better yet, if you are a human being, this is what you need to do. You need to respect each other. That's all. You shouldn't say the N-word because it's not nice. If a group of people don't want to be referred to as an asshole all day, would you refer to them as an asshole? No. Maybe if your name is Dave, you would like to be called Dave. That makes sense. Not something derogatory, but at the end of the day, you need to fucking respect each other. If you're white, then guess what? There's a pretty good chance you grew up differently than your African American, Latino, Asian counterparts. It's fine. It's cool. Instead of finding out what those differences are in the news, because the news lies to you and tries to get you super angry, why don't you just ask the person? If you don't know an African American, if you know an African American who celebrates Kwanzaa and you don't know anything about Kwanzaa, and you think it's just a funny word, why don't you ask the person about it? I guarantee they'll tell you. Because I didn't know anything about it, and I asked a girl in college whose family celebrated it, and she invited me over to her house. And it was admittedly weird, but I still went because I'm not a closed-minded bigot. And when a closed-minded bigot says some shit, I live some shit, so whatever. If you aren't happy about the country or the election or the state of entertainment, or you are just bummed out about everyone you meet, and you happen to be one of those PC trolls on Twitter, then you have yourself to blame. Orange is the new president because of you, fucko. You alienated people into thinking that this guy was the answer. And now the rest of us, who are pretty liberal and don't have any hang-ups, have to deal with it. It's about to be 2017. The theme for the new year should be, don't be an asshole. Or maybe it should be, eat shit, because 10 trillion flies can't be wrong. I can't believe I gotta get fucking angry about this. And I'm sorry, but this is my only outlet for this kind of stuff. I don't play music anymore, and I can't lash out at work, or else I won't be able to feed my family. But
yeah, that would be a problem.
Yeah, between this and the thing that's happening with that movie Passengers, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point, now I just want to fucking hurl. And one last warning: Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray will never be a safe space, and I'm using air quotes. Okay. It'll never be a safe place. It's not a place where you can come and pet the fucking therapy dog because someone said some mean things on the internet.
I wish.
We don't go out of our way to attack anybody, but we'll not be held in check by PC language police or social justice fascists. We're not going to put Vaseline on your bottom and tell you everything's going to be okay. We're not going to censor ourselves because we think it will offend your frail sense of right and wrong. If you are addicted to outrage and you want to get mad and upset every time a celebrity says something you don't agree with, then you are listening to the wrong show. And that goes across the board. So if you're a PC hipster troll, we are not going to cater to you. And if you are an unintellectual bigot who wants to marry your fucking gun collection, the same goes for you too. So... that's over now. We're done. I can't remember if I mentioned in the last episode. I don't think I did, but I posted a giant list of horror and horror-related films that are going to be in theaters in 2017. It's on Reddit. It's also on our Tumblr page. Needless to say, it looks like it's going to be an interesting year. I sent the list out to Brett and Bub, and I want to know, and I'm sure our faithful listeners want to know, especially after the tirade I just went on. Fellas, what films are you looking forward to in 2017? Well, we start with Brett.
Well, number one on my list, without a shadow of a doubt, and it's not just my looking forward to horror, but just movies in general, is definitely Alien Covenant. That's top. I will fucking camp out that night to watch it because it looks so goddamn good. The Cure for Wellness looks really good too. I want to see what that's all about. There is definitely a huge intrigue in Flatliners remake. I didn't even know they were remaking Flatliners, and
I was surprised by that shit too. I didn't even realize that was coming.
I've never heard of it. And like Elaine Page is gonna be in it. I'm like, or Ellen Page. I'm like, I want to see this. Flatliners was right. That was always one of my favorite. Like, that was one of those movies that I liked watching when I was younger as a horror movie. I was never obsessed with it. I never loved it, but it was definitely one of those like lazy Sunday afternoons. I'd walk over to the big fucking VHS cabinet and I'd be like, "Ooh, Flatliners! I haven't watched this in a while." I'm like, they're remaking this. Yes, I want to see this.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. And Alien's great too. I'm pretty stoked about Alien. I'm actually looking forward to talking to you guys about the trailer shortly.
Yeah.
But Bob, what are you stoked for in 2017?
All right, so like obvious pick is the It remake. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
And they just released some new pictures, and I mean that clown looks nasty. I love it.
Yeah, I saw the pictures too. It was blowing up my. It was blowing up my news feed.
Like when I first saw it, I was like, okay, this thing's wearing a dress. Like the way it first looked, I was like, I don't really know about this. But the new pictures with him like climbing out of the pipe, like the sewage pipe, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. The smile from his face goes up through his eyes. That makeup, I'm all about it. But I don't want to sound cliche, so everyone's gonna pick that one. But that new Reanimator, Evolution, I'm psyched for that. I'm so psyched for that.
Yeah, and Brad Dourif. I mean, if you can't get for whatever reason Jeffrey Combs isn't in it, I don't know the details behind that. But Brad Dourif is like the next best thing. That's great.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
he's great. So
he's gonna have a great year. I mean, there's supposedly Chucky 7's gonna happen this year too.
Chucky 7 is happening, and I'm stoked for that too. I mean, I didn't like was it the Seed of Chucky? Or I don't know which one it is. Chucky 6 I liked. The one before that I did not like. But I love the first three. The first three are amazing. So I'm excited for that as well. What else? So any others on your list?
I'm hearing like, what is it? Insidious 4 is coming out in October.
Yes.
Everyone hates those movies. I love them. So I can't wait for it.
I am stoked for the new Toxic Avenger movie that's coming out, Toxic 2-2.
Toxic 2-2?
Toxic 2-2.
Toxic 2-2.
I am stoked for a film called Get Out. It's written and directed by Jordan Peele from Key and Peele. It's like a satirical horror thriller, and I just think it's cool that he's like venturing into this genre. Obviously, he's super funny and creative, and I just want to see where he goes because people who are really funny also have like a great dark side to them.
Oh yeah,
I'm really interested in that. Yeah,
wow. Both those guys.
Yeah. I think they're both great, and so I'm really excited for it because I don't think he would do something that would. They don't strike me as the type that would half-ass anything. You know what I mean? No. So I'm excited to see that. There's a film that's out on the film festival circuit now. It's called Raw. It's a French-Belgian cannibal film that is apparently grossing people out all over the place. And like there's like genuine reports of people vomiting in the theater.
Nice.
And like obviously running out of the theater and being so I'm totally cool with like throwing up watching a movie and getting grossed out. So I'll keep a barf bag near me, and I'm stoked for that because I hope 2017 is the year that they really push it to the max. I want to see like boundaries get crossed constantly. So not in a Serbian film type of way, but still. And then finally, the movie Meg, which is supposed to be a serious shark film with a giant budget. And I'm hoping that it's going to be great because, I love a good creature feature. Eli Roth was supposed to direct it, and then he is no longer part of the project, but it's got like a massive amount of money in it, and everybody I've talked to who's read the book, because I forget who wrote it, but all he does is write shark books. It's fine with me. Everybody I talked to who's read the book said the book is amazing, and so I'm really hopeful for the movie. I did go out and buy the book. I just haven't gotten a chance to crack it open yet. So yeah, that's what we're excited for in 2017. But in 2016, we put on a few extra pounds. We didn't exercise enough. But new year, new show. Am I right? 2017 is going to be a great year for this show. I'm super excited with some of the things we have lined up. So here are some New Year's resolutions for Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. Seeing that we started the show in the middle of the year, we didn't get a chance to run down everything that came out in 2016, but that's not going to happen in 2017. We have our list. We're going to stay on top of it. And this time next year, Bub, Brett, and I, we're going to be running down the best horror films of that 2017 had to offer. So you are going to, at the end of the next year, you are going to get a best of episode, which is going to be tons of fun. Might have to be broken up into 2 episodes, which is great. So we are going to have a website, which I am working on right now, actually. It's not going to be overly complex at all. I just want to keep it simple, make it easy for you guys to listen to episodes and reach out to us. All of our social media stuff will be up. No changes there. This is going to be, it's going to be very easy to navigate and stuff like that. It's going to sound a little bit twisted, but I'm working on a calendar to celebrate the birthdays and the death days of horror icons. So each week you'll know who had a birthday between episodes, and you'll be able to reach out to them on social media and say happy birthday. And I'm in the middle of trying to figure out how to set up a group watch with a chat room or something like that. I think it would be fun once or twice a month. You get to sit down and watch a movie with us. And, we can comment on it together. It'll be a lot of fun. We're also going to have a voicemail. Working on that right now, too. There's a lot of stuff happening. I'm basically going to be up for the next few days, like not really celebrating New Year's. And finally, each week I will be telling you what is in theaters and what's coming out, yada yada. So with that being said, here's what's coming out in January. This is a new segment. It doesn't have a name, but cue the music.
Yum, yum. It's time for a tasty and refreshing snack.
Find out what's creeping and crawling into theaters near you, courtesy of your friends at Blood, Guts, and Bluray.
So, coming out January 6th, the 5th installment of the Underworld franchise, Blood Wars, will be out. And following that will be The Bye-Bye Man, which is sounds like a terrible movie, but I'll check it out.
Did you see somebody made a funny poster online called the Poo Poo Man?
The Poo Poo Pee Pee Man.
Wait, what? Okay, yeah, I'm clicking over a new tab here. I gotta see that.
The Poo Poo Pee Pee Man.
Sorry, I had to say it.
On the 15th, Trauma is putting out the Return to Nukem High, aka the Return Volume 2. That's on the 15th. The 20th, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie Split will be out. It is actually getting extremely good reviews, and as somebody, I basically hate M. Night Shyamalan, but I am looking forward to seeing it because it's got the girl from The Witches in it, and James McAvoy's in it, so it should be cool. And at the end of the month, there's the new Resident Evil, the final chapter. We'll see if it's actually the final chapter, because those movies never seem to end, but that's that. So
I'm surprised they keep making money.
They're making like a butt ton of money, too.
That's just shocking to me. I mean,
it's crazy. I agree. It's crazy. And you know what? I liked the second one. I remember liking a lot.
I think I liked the third one a lot, and that was the one with like the birds, and they were outside. It was like a desert, and they were like hopping through fucking school buses and shit. I think that was Apocalypse or something like that. I don't know.
And then Extinction came after that, right?
Was Apocalypse the second one and then Extinction the third one?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
I think I liked Extinction. I thought it had a cool twist to it. Or like just a twist in what I'm used to, because I used to love playing the Resident Evil games. The movies were just so bad, but it was just enjoyable to watch them because they were so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember actually thinking 3, I'm like, this is actually a kind of legitimate movie.
So yeah, but I agree with you. You got to get to a point where you got to stop.
Yeah.
And hopefully they go out with a bang. I mean, I'm not like a huge fan of the franchise, but I always want to be entertained. I want to see a good movie. So
yeah,
I have taken up way too much time here. It's time for Killer News. Bub, come on, let's do it.
It's that time again. It's Killer News with Bub on Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray.
All right, welcome to the news that won't make you mad or make you sad. All right, so this week, it's getting cold out. Your skin's cracking. Your hands are dry. So somebody came up with Bateman Skincare. Bateman Skincare. It's I guess it's modeled after Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. I love it.
I saw so you sent that to me. I went and I visited the website. It's extremely expensive. It is Patrick Bateman prices. But I might actually buy something from there. I don't know. Just to see if I like it.
How expensive How expensive is it?
I think I got a tube of like face cream costs like $38.
Jesus.
But I just want to put it on and then just recite the beginning of that movie to myself. Like, I live in the American Gardens building. I can do 1,000 crunches. In the morning, if I'm feeling a little puffy, I put an ice pack on my face.
I'm telling you, man. I love it. I love it. Like, they're like names for their thing. It's like what is it? Rose hip and seaweed facial cleanser.
Yeah.
Like, just the names of the things. You're like, oh yeah, this fits.
The New York Times called it a playful little dish.
I like the Daily Hyaluronic Serum. I definitely want to buy that. Just to have it. And I don't think I'll even use it. I think I'll just like tape it to my chest and walk around and be like, yes, I use this every day.
It also may be like the coolest thing that you can buy, and just like, because I love having talking points in my domicile. Yes. So like, it's one of those things that you buy a couple of those things and you just never touch them, and you leave them in the bathroom so people who use your bathroom can see and be like, is this Bateman in there? Is this Patrick Bateman? Yes. Let's watch American Psycho and make fun of it, right? So,
gotta leave a nice business card next to it.
Yeah.
Oh. Yep.
It's called and the color is called Bone. My favorite line in that whole movie, he was into that whole Yale thing. Yale thing. What do you mean by that? Like, meaning that he was a coke addict and a closet homosexual. That whole Yale thing.
Yeah.
There's too many.
What a great movie.
There's too many good one-liners in that movie. And
I can never get over him saying hip to be square and doing that little dance with his hands. Like,
so it's funny, and I don't want to jump too far off, but I listened to the Bret Easton Ellis podcast. He's the guy who wrote the book. And when he talks, you hear Patrick Bateman, and his feeling on the movie was that part with wearing hip to be square, where he's dancing, he thought that was the most obscene, obnoxious part of the entire movie.
Oh, I love that part.
It's like the best part, and of
course
that's
kind of the iconic scene.
Yeah, and and Bret Easton Ellis is a total bummer. And I listen to him, and I'm like, oh my god, I love this guy. I love everything he says. He hates social justice warriors. He hates PC culture. He hates all that. And then when he says things like that, I'm like, I fucking hate this guy. He's fucking. So you go back and forth with him, and I like that, and obviously he's a very very smart guy, and he's a gifted writer. So, I'm actually I use my iTunes gift card that I got from my mother-in-law to purchase Less Than Zero. So I'm looking forward to reading that. Bub, what else you got? I'm sorry.
All right, so on the internet, like this week, there's some more talk about like the new Eli Roth thing, Mission Fear. Did you guys hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about it.
No.
Elaborate, please.
It's basically like his outer space like horror movie, and there's gonna be a trailer for it in 2017. So like, there's a lot of buzz on the internet about it right now. I'm psyched for it. Like I think that'll be great.
I'm psyched for it. I just don't want it to hold up the production of Thanksgiving. I want Thanksgiving. I've wanted it for years now. I don't think I'm alone in that. And he has said a bunch of times, I think he even said it on Reddit, the Ask Me Anything thing, that he's got stuff written for it and everything. He's just got to make it happen. And that's what I want. I want that more than I want a space movie. But it's an Eli Roth movie, so I'll go see it because he's great. But if he's going to do a space movie, though, he can't have douchebag characters the way he does in every movie he's ever done. Yeah. Which he's just the worst. And that's fine. Like the characters minus Ryder Strong and Cabin Fever, they're the worst. And then he's all of the movies that he's done, just the worst characters.
Oh yeah.
And it's cool to watch them get killed and butchered and cut to pieces and everything. I think that I get why he's doing that, but you have to have you do a space movie for some reason. If you have asshole characters, it just doesn't feel right. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No.
Assholes don't go to space. They don't even leave their hometown.
It takes a lot of work to get to space.
Yeah. So
and a lot of sacrifice, a lot of personal sacrifice. Yeah, you don't end up being a douchebag usually at the end of it when you're floating through space.
Right. So
that brings me to my next thing. Alien Covenant, the new trailer that came out on Christmas Eve. What do you guys think about that?
Loved it. Super
Fucking
excited
awesome.
for it. The cast looks great. You got Amy Simons. She's been in a bunch of Ty West movies, like in that mumblecore genre. Danny McBride, I think, is going to add a nice dimension to it. I'm hoping he's not overly Danny McBride. I don't want to see.
I doubt it.
I don't want to see Kenny Powers in this movie.
No.
But I think comic relief is appropriate comic relief makes sense in a space movie though. Because you're trapped in isolation. You need a funny guy to bounce stuff off of.
Oh yeah, you need Red in this one. You need Red.
Yeah, exactly.
And usually the Alien movies have always typically had comedic humor characters. There have always been a group of grunts or prisoners, depending on which one you're looking at. And there always was somebody that had humor.
Yeah, exactly. And even some of the James Cameron movies, take The Abyss for example. There's some funny parts in there, and the characters they jive well off of each other. You're not gonna jive well off of each other if everybody's really stoic and super focused and can't get it out of their own way. You need a guy to shake things up a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. even if you take a movie like The Martian, which I thought was incredible. Matt Damon's by himself, and there's still funny moments where he's talking to himself and he's making fun of stupid things that he does. That's what you need.
All the disco music, he makes fun of the disco music, and yeah,
so good, so good. I'm super excited for it. That show was gory. It totally fit my expectations for what I want from this movie.
Oh yeah, and I love the back rip. The back rip in that
was
thing.
Sick.
Oh, the back burster. Oh my god.
That was sick. That was so sick. It was great. This movie is gonna slay. It is. I'm not gonna be surprised when the end of 2017 comes around and when we're making top 10 lists and each one of us has this on there, because I loved Prometheus. I know Brett loved Prometheus too. Bub, you like Prometheus too, right?
I loved it. Did you see online just 2 days ago they're trying to say Prometheus is kind of linked in with the holidays? Did you hear about that?
No. What's that about?
What? Basically, I guess there's a Christmas tree in that movie. Prometheus takes place around Christmas time, and how they said all the engineers, those guys, from that movie, like the bald-headed guys and all that type of stuff. Like, basically, they were trying to say that, like, Jesus Christ was one of those guys. Sent down to Earth, and then he was, crucified by the people, and that's why they're trying to wipe out Earth.
That's a little. I feel like there's a far-fetchedness to that.
I know. I mean, it's on the internet. It's on the internet, but I mean, in Prometheus, there's a Christmas tree. So I don't know about the Jesus thing, but there's a Christmas tree.
I saw that movie in the theater. That came out in what, 2013?
2012, I think. 2012.
Okay, 2012. I saw it in the theater and I was totally blown away by it visually, and I thought that Michael Fassbender did an excellent job, and the characters were selected well. Yeah, I think it's I know that movie got a lot of vitriol, but I mean, it was Ridley Scott that did it. It wasn't like some new hotshot director that came in and totally uprooted the franchise. I think Ridley Scott gave it an excellent backstory to it, and it's gonna be and this is gonna be great. Is this one a sequel? Is this one a prequel to the prequel though? Because it looks like Fassbender's character isn't a cyborg. He's like a person.
He still has a body.
That's what I'm gathering that from. Yeah, I'm gathering that from the trailer. So I don't know. I'm curious to see where this goes, because if we're going like prequel to prequel, I mean we're setting up for how many movies?
I thought it was a sequel. I was pretty sure it was a sequel, and that's why they changed it to Alien Covenant because of the backlash of Prometheus being an alien movie in the alien timeline without there being technically without being a xenomorph. But maybe that's the real Michael Fassbender, and the android version of him is still on the planet. I mean, maybe they're going to go in that direction.
Yeah, but I love how Fassbender came out and he's like, there are going to be so many different types of aliens ripping and tearing through the body and bursting out of people all over the place.
Love it.
And I'm like,
love it,
because I feel like he's a guy that like really appreciated this franchise, and he's like, how many, like when he signed before he's got the pen to paper, he's like, how many chest bursters are we having in this one?
How many face suckers are going to be in this?
And the guy, the lawyer for the studio's like, a bunch. And he's like, all right, I like the sound of that. It's no problem. And
then they chest bump. Yeah.
And he just high fives him while he's. You struck me at you had me at a bunch. Do we have any more killer news?
Well, I wanted to ask you like that. I follow your like news feed and stuff on like social media. Mm-hmm. How was that BC Butcher movie that you watched?
So that's good to bring up. A new friend of the program, Kansas Bowling. She's a young director. She directed a movie that came out last year. It's called BC Butcher. It's less than an hour long. It's a very short movie, but Troma distributed it, and they put it out. And they kind of took her under a wing, and it's just a really, really funny prehistoric slasher. The effects are cheesy, but they're really like laughable. I had a fun time watching it, and it's finally getting a physical release. So she's a friend of the show, and we are going to let everybody know that you can, if you want, you can pick up a physical copy of it on Blu-ray. I think you can pick it up at Troma, and you can pick it up on Amazon. So the pre-orders are available now. It'll come out in the very beginning of 2017.
I just like the
really funny movie.
The cover art looks awesome. It looks real old school.
It does look really good.
So we will be talking about that one in February when we do our Troma month, which I'm super stoked about, by the way, because we're gonna hit some of the we haven't really gone over all the stuff we're gonna talk about, but there is gonna be a bunch, and I know the only thing we know for sure is we're gonna talk about BC Butchers, and I keep pluralizing that, and I don't know why. It's BC Butcher. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about Toxic Avenger 3 and Return to Nukem High 3, because episode 33 will be in there. And,
that just makes sense.
You know what we do. So, so we're really, we're stoked about that, and that's going to be awesome. So, are we good?
That wraps it up. Get into it.
All right. Well, here's the deal. We're going to take a quick break now that we've wasted about 37 minutes of your time. And welcome to the DMV. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about New Year's Evil to close out the year 2016. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. Let us know what you think by reaching out to us. We can be found on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, or Facebook by simply searching Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. To suggest a film or trailer you think we should discuss, or to comment on this or any other episode, send an email to bloodgutsandbluray@gmail.com. We will always get back to you. Thank you for listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Celebrating New Year's Eve. He was out, ending their life.
I'm going to commit murder at midnight. Call me evil.
Every New Year's Eve, the caller came out. Unspeakable evil. New Year's Evil.
All right. Our bladders are all empty. And we are going to talk...
So I wasn't expecting you to continue that line.
The pee-pee poo-poo man?
Pee-pee man is gone.
We had a visit with the pee-pee poo-poo man, and now we're ready to talk about New Year's Evil, which was released at the tail end of 1980. It was directed by Emmett Alston. I couldn't find anything on how much the film grossed or how much it would cost to make, but there's a naughty count of 2, there's a body count of 6, which is pretty typical for a slasher film. Brett, do what you do.
All right, man. I'm going to keep this one kind of short and sweet. So when disc jockey Blaze, also known as Diane Sullivan, isn't neglecting her son, she is the number one DJ for the punk rock world, for the new age rock, and she is hosting a special event for all her fans with live music for New Year's Eve, counting down each time zone for the new year. Of course, in the 80s, she also had phone lines that people could call in, where she received a man with a disturbing voice by the name of Evil that says that he is going to be killing one naughty girl every single time the clock counts down until he's going to come to find her and kill someone she knows and loves. At first, obviously, she thinks it's a ruse, but then as the bodies start stacking up, she realizes that it is no game.
Well done. I wrote down a note that Diane's son, Derek, looks like a boyish version of the killer in Blood Rage, and I spent a lot of the movie trying to think of like who this kid looks like where I recognize him from. I got a bad habit of like watching movies and then going directly to my phone and then looking on IMDb and reading about the critical reception and all this other shit. So I have to keep my phone away from me when I'm sitting there watching. I really that's a New Year's resolution. But yeah. Afterwards, I went on IMDb to find out fun facts about this film, which there aren't many. There's not a whole lot about this movie out there. I looked. There's not a whole lot, but I looked at this guy's page, and he was in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's where I recognized him from.
Oh, nice.
This kid could have easily been Johnny Lawrence in The Karate Kid. Like he would have been typecast his entire life into playing roles like that. But without having seen this, I first I had him pegged as the killer. I was wrong, but he was in on it in some way. So
I felt that he was the killer when he put those red fishnets over his face and wore sunglasses.
What a fucking weird part. Like, it's just so weird.
That part was really fucking weird.
And I like
hanging out backstage.
My note for that part is, what the fuck is this kid doing? Like this.
I just like the beginning of it where he comes in all excited that he got a new part in a series, and of course his mom has zero care in the world for whatever he's doing. And then he gets like sad and starts like picking apart the roses he bought. And I'm like, and then he straight up goes to shakily answering the phone, taking random pills and putting fishnets over his face. I'm like, ooh, there must have been some early warning signs that we haven't seen yet. Like, what the fuck?
And even in the very, very beginning of this movie, when like the air quotes punks are driving to this venue, they're like the worst punks ever. they're terrible punks.
That's all I was thinking.
It was the worst. Those are the worst punks I've ever seen. And this is like 1980, where it's like 1980 Los Angeles. Like, punk is happening. The Germs are done, but like Black Flag is around, Circle Jerks are around, like all those bands are around now, and Fear, Decline of Western Civilization, I think had already come out at that point, or was on its way out, and these are just like, we need punks for movies, make sure they look like, I saw pictures of the Damned once, so let's make them look like that, because that's what all punk, everybody will identify with that, and they were really pushing that like new wave genre title, which when I hear new wave, I get chills because I'm like, oh, yeah. They look like these glam fashion posers, and the irony is when the punk rock DJ is begging for the help of the police in LA in the 80s. Instantly. Like, oh my God, you need to help me, and the cop is like, you're causing all these problems, and then because it's just. It was a weird place to be in. If you were punk in the 80s in LA, I mean, there's no shortage of like of accounts of like being brutalized by cops outside of venues because they just didn't like you. Like they come in like stormtroopers and beat the shit out of you. There's plenty of accounts of that. I mean, look no further than Henry Rollins or Keith Morris, but I digress. The theme song for this film is by a band called Shadow, and it is fucking terrible, and they play it so like bad. A million times in this movie.
They play it in the intro, and then the band plays it not 8 minutes later after the random girl like Yvonne or whoever gets whacked. They play it again, and I'm like, well, it was bad the first time. Do you think I'm gonna change my fucking mind? and then they play a blues song.
Right, like that's an and you see like the kids like moshing to it, and it's the lamest mosh pit
Oh,
ever.
They don't know what to do.
They look possessed during that part, like they're like turning into zombies. That part.
That's what I was thinking too.
Which would have been great. That would have been great. If that happened, that would have made it awesome. And then they go out, let's reimagine this movie, because we haven't even really gotten into the crux of it yet. But let's reimagine this movie as the amazing band Shadow plays New Year's Evil, which puts all these kids into a cannibalistic trance, and they go out and just ransack Los Angeles and fucking destroy everything.
It turns into the movie The Signal. The Signal.
Oh, dude, it turns into the best movie ever is what happens. What happened there? It's terrible.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't have gotten young Burt Reynolds. I mean, so young Burt Reynolds wannabe. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm really happy about that reimagination.
The first girl to get killed, that kill was like totally lame too. Like I mean, the leading up to that kill was cool. You know, like it's like the whole lurker thing. I mean, keep in mind we're kind of desensitized to the slasher genre at this point, but it's still in the beginning or in 1980, it's still relatively new. They didn't put out movies as fast as they do now. So like Texas Chainsaw Massacre had already come out, and Halloween obviously, and Friday the 13th. So like, and there were other ones in there as well, but like it's still a new thing. And so the whole lurker part is there, and then it just is the weak, like you don't even see anything. You just see blood splatter. And every time I see that, I'm like, oh, come on, just show me something. I get that lazy. It was a low budget. It's just exactly. It's totally lazy. 100%. You're 100% right. But I do like this killer. Can we talk for a second about what a fucking smooth operator this guy is? Because he was
fucking A.
Holy shit. It's just the confidence of a serial killer. He talked that nurse right into his game. Like when he goes to the the mental asylum where I guess he was. We find out later that he was there. He was a patient there, and which you'd think somebody would recognize him if he was there.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of holes in this story.
All I could think.
Go ahead.
Sorry about that, dude.
No,
all I could think the whole time when I saw him was like, he looks very like 1970s, like I'm a track star Bruce Jenner, but he has that total Ted Bundy vibe.
Oh yeah, you're 100%. That's 100%, dude. You're dead on with that. And he gets on the phone. He's got the voice modulator, and how fucking annoying is that?
Oh my god.
Evil, you can call me evil.
You do it perfectly.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what it fucking sounds like.
What is that thing though? Like he had it in his mouth. Like it looked like a straw. You know what I mean? Like it was like a straw, and he.
You know what I was thinking?
Like
it
biting
was
on it, like a duck call.
I thought that it was. I thought it was like the. Who is it that Frampton has where he uses his mouth? He has the voice box for the guitar.
A talk box, yeah.
The talk box. I was thinking it was like it was a talk box, but it was also a radio, and it recorded things. It was like, it was the new little. I have no idea. It made no sense.
I want you to show me the way.
Show me the way.
I feel like a lot of this movie doesn't make sense though. The guy's walking around with like a little like recorder around his thing, and the whole movie, and like the cops are just passing him. They're like, oh well, he's replaying the stuff and recording it, but we don't know who it could be.
like the cop passing by him when he was shirtless, taking off his clothes, throwing shit in the trunk.
Yeah.
Wouldn't in a one-horse town at fucking midnight you don't like go, hey, maybe that's somebody we should go inspect.
Totally normal.
Totally normal.
But yeah, he talked that nurse like right into his game, but then another hole kind of shows up. One of the big mistakes that this film sort of it sort of addressed it in maybe in passing, but didn't really make it clear. And I'm curious to get your opinion on it because this is how I felt watching it, and I could just be totally off because I'm kind of an idiot. But they sort of insinuated at first that the killer was like jumping time zones.
Oh,
like
yeah, I totally thought that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like one way or another, this whole thing, it's a failure because they didn't make it clear what was going on. Because it's obviously impossible for him to go to 3 time zones in 3 hours. Impossible.
I was thinking the same thing.
And it turns out that that's not what he was doing. But even so, there's a lot of work that has to go into each kill. You know what I mean? It's not like it would be one thing if he had a bunch of people in a room and then he was killing them one by one. You know what I mean? Like he already did all the work. And he's like, he did the swooning, the capturing, and he's got them in like a fucking storage facility somewhere on New Year's Eve where nobody is. But But he has, like I said, he has to do a lot of running around and driving. And in 3 hours, you can't kill 3 people and travel that much, let alone in 3 different time zones. His process was long. It was kill them, hide them, call the radio station with no guarantee that you're going to get through. Talk slowly on the phone. Change into a disguise. Scout a new Scout a new location. Swoon a victim. And then do the whole thing over again. I was like, how is this? This is impossible. Just to get into his disguise and like make it look good with like the fake mustache and like get into his like groove. That's 15 minutes right there. And then you had to call and hide a body. There's another 15, at least another 15 minutes. No way.
I love when he was getting all set up though, putting the fake mustache on. Like my wife watches a lot of Undercover Boss. And it totally reminded me of that.
I know exactly what you're fucking talking about. Put the weird hair on them.
He's like, I've already killed somebody in one time zone. I have to switch it up so they don't know it's me again.
Yeah. Props to the filmmakers, though, and the writers or whoever for at least having some original kills. Because I've never seen anybody killed by a bag of weed before. Until I watched this movie, and I thought it was great. Like, oh yeah, come on, this is the really good stuff. Come on, sniff it.
I love it. He's like, can you?
And she's like, yeah.
He's like, check this out. Is this Colombian Kush?
I like that, man. I thought that was cool. And then right after that, they do pay like a quick homage to Friday the 13th, because he gets out of the car and her friend is like walking back with a bottle of champagne, and you hear the kick. Like, I was like, that's really, really obvious. And that's a quick turnaround too, because that film came out earlier that year. So they're like, hey, we'll stick this in there. The kids will like it. And
this movie's gonna be gold. This movie's gonna be gold in 30 years.
I just have a feeling that this guy Bloodbath is gonna buy it. I don't know why I have that feeling. I think there's going to be this thing called Amazon, and he's going to waste his money on it. They also gave props to, which I thought was really cool, they gave props to Herschel Gordon Lewis when they're at the drive-in, and he kind of jacks that car, and they're watching trailers for a Herschel Gordon Lewis movie. I think it's Blood Feast. Might have been a different one, but it's playing in the background, and clearly playing in the background. Like you can hear. I mean, you hear the name of the film and everything, and I thought that was really cool because I'm a big Herschel Gordon Lewis fan. So, which 2016 claimed him as well. Terrible year.
Oh, bad year.
Yeah, bad year. Here's a question for you, and we might spend a little bit of time on this one. How much do you think that this killer may have influenced Ghostface in the Scream movies? There's a voice modulator. The killer hates women for what they do to men. It's kind of a self-aware movie. Do you think that that maybe that played a role in how Scream like panned out? Like they borrowed a couple concepts from it? Bub, what do you think?
No, I totally think that. You know what? Like when I was watching it, I was actually looking up, like, voice changers because I want to do this whole episode with a voice changer. Way too expensive. Like, the one from Scream's like $175 on eBay.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't do that. But yeah, I totally.
It's not worth the bit. It's not worth the bit. It's not.
But I totally thought that the whole movie, like you said, like it's like a totally like it's very out there, But I don't know. Hey, if it influenced it, I love Scream. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big Scream fan myself. Pretty big. Brett, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I see parallels between the storylines, like you said, with the voice modulator and the reason that he goes after the women. But I think that those ideas could come pretty naturally without biting off of it. Maybe that was an inspiration. I wouldn't be able to tell. And I feel like also that Scream is a movie that's been covered and adored and simultaneously hated enough, and I'm sure interviewed and questioned. I would feel like somebody, the director, somebody would come up and say like, oh yeah, one of my main influences for this movie was New Year's Evil, and then everybody would say, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and they would go, exactly, and drive away in their Rolls Royce. So I think it probably would have been brought up already, but I mean, I could see that, yeah, sure.
It would be cool to see, like, somebody interviewing Wes Craven and be like, oh, this movie's, like, pretty twisted and sick. And he'd be like, would you say it's evil?
Evil.
One of the things that I think is that this movie did, and I mentioned it before with the weed bag thing, but it made bold attempts at trying to get cool kills. And the one at the end, so we find out that the killer is Richard, which is Diane's husband, and that he is basically tired of being pushed around by Diane's celebrityness, and he is going to get his revenge. He's basically like on an allowance. He feels like he's been castrated by her. I think that's the exact word he uses.
Oh, yeah.
And so it takes forever to get through that part, but it does lead to a pretty interesting thing where he decides to elaborately kill her by chaining her to the bottom part of an elevator and then basically electrically manipulating the control panel of the elevator to go all the way up and then release its brakes and then come crashing down, and she gets crushed by the elevator. Her plan gets foiled by the police, who stumble on to the fact that he's probably the guy, and that they kind of catch him at the last minute, and then the strangest part of the whole movie happens. He gets to the roof and he quotes Shakespeare. It's a weird thing to quote. And then he jumps off the roof and dies. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Didn't make a lick of sense to me whatsoever. Not that the part that he jumped off the roof, but the Shakespeare quote is like, I don't know where that came from. That's got to be the director going, you know what you're going to do? You're going to quote Shakespeare. Why would I do that? Because people are going to ask why forever. They're never going to understand why you would do that.
What were the true intentions? What do those words mean?
He's like, hey, we're making a shitty movie. Let's appeal to the intellectuals.
Pretty much, and then he jumps off the roof. Here's the part that gets interesting, and I think it turned into a sequel that I'm not even sure or tried to create a sequel that really wasn't there. And I don't know if a sequel was ever made for this. I actually didn't bother to look, but they go to so he's dead. The mother, I guess she gets carted away in an ambulance to be taken care of, and the son is in the front seat, and he has killed the ambulance driver, and they don't even know it yet. And then we pan, and that's it. And then we cut to credits, and that's the end of the film. So obviously they were trying to create room for a sequel, and that never happened. Normally, this is the part where I have interesting anecdotes about this movie. I was hard pressed to find them. I didn't find them anywhere. There's nothing to say about it. This movie is what it is. In the horror community, as far as like reviewers are concerned, like it's kind of a middle of the road movie. It's goofy and it's dopey. It's got some cool parts. So basically, like, we're sort of obviously came to those conclusions naturally, but we're basically regurgitating what everybody thinks about this movie. This is no one's favorite movie. And this is by far nobody hates this movie the most. You know, it's a movie. It's a timestamp. It's like, oh, okay, somebody tried to make a New Year's horror movie and it didn't go well. Moving on. And that's where we're at. So
there was somebody who gave it a 10-star review on IMDb. That's the only absolute praise I ever saw. So somebody out here, it's like their favorite movie.
What was his username?
Yeah, we need to...
Nancy Strode.
Oh, boy.
Well, there you go.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, well, that explains it. It's a great little slice of 80s slasher heaven.
Come on.
Whenever I bake my pies, I always watch Resident Evil. Little slice of Americana right there.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take our usual break, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna give our ratings, and we'll move on from there. You're listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray.
You are listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. We are dedicated to bringing you the show across your favorite medium. We can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. Please send all suggestions to bloodgutsandbluray@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
All right, we are back, and we are gonna give our ratings. This is the last rating for 2016. And Brett's gonna start it off, and he's gonna be really weird about it. Go, Brett.
Ooh. Yes, this is gonna get one of my special, unique Brett 667 scores. I officially give this movie 48 minutes out of somewhere around 120 minutes. I don't really know. That is my rating, ladies and gentlemen, and that is for a simple fact that 2 hours before this podcast, while watching it, I fell asleep, like Grandpa after Thanksgiving. So the last thing I remember, exactly, the last thing I remember is the killer going, "Hey, officer, I found a drunk," which, of course, led this police officer to leave his post when a murderous psycho killer's out there and he's protecting the building, the giant entrance by himself, and get hit with a brick. I giggled, and then I fell asleep. So, solid 48 out of around 120.
Well done. Bub, where are you at?
I feel like since Brett fell asleep and he gave it a 2, we should multiply it. And I can't believe he gave it a 4.
Wait, what? No. Please don't put that online. I won't be able to read it.
I'm just kidding. I give this thing a 2 myself, and I stayed up through the whole thing. And I don't suffer from narcolepsy, but I thought it's the type of movie I wouldn't watch it again, but I didn't mind watching it, I thought it was pretty good, it was a family affair.
And what else would we want during the holiday season but a family affair?
That's what I'm saying.
I gave it a 1.5 out of 5. Movies like this are the reason that I got into horror in the first place. It's a dumb movie. The acting is fucking terrible. The premise is stupid. It's all just stupid. but it has some qualities to it that I think make it pretty cool. So I didn't really like it, but it still didn't stop me from buying it on VHS. It's super entertaining, but it's not very good. It's also a bit slow in the beginning and toward the end. I found the ending to be flat out ridiculous, as I mentioned before. And I got kind of lost because Richard's motives were good, but you never really figured it out. Like, it took like the almost like James Bond villain type explanation for you to get that out of him, you know? So I thought that was lame. The good news is, if you do want to watch this, you can totally watch it for free on YouTube, which is exactly what I did. And I'm sure these other two guys did as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's totally available there. And it says it's an hour and 44 minutes, but it's not. It's only an hour and 20. It's fairly short. It's totally entertaining. It's a great New Year's Day watch. I would, if I didn't just watch it, I'd totally watch it. This and like Terror Train and probably Young Frankenstein. For some reason, Young Frankenstein when I was a kid was always on New Year's Day, and even if it's not on, I'm gonna be watching it on New Year's Day because it's Young Frankenstein.
Oh, it's so
that's
classic.
It's classic.
So good.
And of course we lost Gene Wilder this year. Thanks a lot, 2016. Fuck.
Fucking A.
So I think that's gonna do it. Happy New Year from all of us. Everybody have a safe New Year's Eve. Don't fucking be an idiot. Don't drive drunk. We're not trying to be your moral compass here, but seriously, your life is important. So, don't be an idiot. Thank you for introducing us into your lives in 2016. And let's keep hanging out in 2017. I promise you are going to fall in love with this show all over again. Big things, 2017. Big. Toodaloo.
Good evening.
Drink responsibly. I hope your New Year's isn't evil.
Thank you for listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. Written and hosted by Bloodbath, Bub, and Brett667. Edited and produced by Bloodbath. Music has been graciously provided by the Slasher Film Festival Strategy and Nightbirds. Artwork and logo have been provided by Bub. Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray is available on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, as well as @BloodGutsBluray on Twitter, @BloodGutsandBluray on Instagram, and visit our Tumblr page by going to bloodgutsandbluray.tumblr.com. For any questions regarding the show, advertising, or anything else, please send an email to bloodgutsandbluray@gmail.com. Thanks again. Get possessed.